How are my thoughts?
We're live.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to our Good Sound Audiology Happy Hour. I'm Dr. Tina Jesse with Good Sound Audiology, and today you get to meet our newest audiologist, Dr. Kristen Klein. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope you are somewhere comfortable and you can have a glass of wine or a water or whatever you enjoy this time of year. But thank you for joining us. We are actually taping today out of our Mesa office. We have 3 locations, one in Chandler, one in Mesa, and one in Gilbert. So kind of all over the East Valley. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And we usually talk about something related to hearing, hearing loss, hearing aids, anything to do with the hearing system or the balance system. And of course, we usually talk about a wine of the day. Yes. So today, we have a Pinot Noir from Oregon, which, again, if you watch our happy hours, I've had a few of these from Oregon because I love Oregon red wine. So here's another one. This is a club that I actually joined. It's called, it's a vineyard called Rapture Ridge. Somewhere, I know we flew into Portland, and it's like an hour and a half from Salem. But it's a lovely wine. So Rapture Ridge, this is a 2015. So that's what we're having today. I'll leave it up front. I'll pull it up again in a little while in case you guys want to steal it. My point is it's an excellent Pinot Noir if you like Pinot Noir. And I think it's like, I don't know, $30. So reasonable and delicious. So, Dr. Klein, cheers and welcome.
Cheers. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Merry Christmas to you too.
This is our holiday taping, and we were just saying before we started that 2017 has been a big year.
It has.
And you know what? I cheersed you, and I didn't take a drink. So
I know.
That's bad luck.
Very
I'm sorry.
rude.
Yeah. I know, right? Very rude. Okay. So now that that's done, so Good Sound Audiology's had some changes this year, you being probably my best change. Yes, we stole you away from a practice in Nevada, and it's been wonderful having you. And just so you know, she looks very young, but she is a real doctor.
And a lot of people think I'm still in high school,
Yes.
Around the age of 18, but I'm aging well. I am much older than that. I won't tell you how old, but older.
Yeah, no, it's true, because they'll say, now, is that the young one? And I'm like, yeah, that's her. I'm like, they're like, is she a student? No, she's not a student. So anyway, we had you join our team. We have a new administrator who's actually not new to our practice, but new in that position. So that's going wonderfully. We just had some staffing changes this year, and we've been really pretty stable for a while, but I think all really good changes.
Oh, they've been fabulous.
Yeah.
They really have.
We have our 3 locations. We've had lots of growth this year because now we also have Dr. Strike who fills in for us, and we're now fully staffed. We have an audiology assistant. So a really good year. I don't know what 2018 holds.
I know.
I mean, I'm looking
All
forward
good
to.
things.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm looking forward to you feeling and being more established. I know patients are now starting to ask for you because you've been here for a while now. And I'm really excited to see your career path kind of grow and people really start to seek you out. What brought you into audiology? What brought you into our field?
Good question. So, as a young child, I had chronic middle ear infections quite frequently, which, if you don't know, gives you a mild hearing loss, essentially. So as it happened as I was learning more words, which impacted my ability to learn speech. So the biggest word that my parents always tell me that I misheard, if you will, was the word pattern.
Pattern.
I thought it was pad-win, and I thought I was right. So as most kids do, right? So it was something where it was starting to impact my ability to learn speech well. And if I wouldn't have had an audiologist myself, I would have fallen far behind my peers, and I wouldn't be here today helping other people.
You did have an audiologist.
I did.
Yeah. See, that's funny because I did not know. I was like so many other people. Thankfully, this is improved. But I didn't know what audiology was until I went to college and took an allied health course.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't have a desire. People are like, why didn't you go to medical school? And I'm like, I really didn't want to. I mean, it wasn't a thought. I didn't really want to be a medical doctor. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. You know, so many people start off in psychology.
Oh,
you know, like I'm going to be
that's the main one.
Yeah, everyone starts there. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. So I took an allied health course. I had never even heard the word audiology, even though my younger brother had hearing loss.
Okay.
So I I think what happened was I took this course. I've actually written a newsletter on this before, and for our patients, and they had speech pathology and occupational therapy and pharmacy, just everything in the health field that wasn't an MD. And when they started talking about audiology, same thing, kind of with you. It made me think of my little brother who had many ear infections when he was little, and he had a speech impediment. Kids made fun of him. He was kind of bullied over that. And so when it was probably an audiologist who was giving her 15-minute spiel on our field, I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. So that's that's how I got into it. Yeah, that's how I got into it. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Dr. Tina Jesse. This is Dr. Kristen Klein. We are two of the audiologists with Good Sound Audiology. Thank you for joining us for happy hour today. We're just talking with Dr. Klein. She's our newest audiologist and kind of getting to know her. And also really talking about, again, it's the holidays. I think we're on day 6 or 7 of Hanukkah. I'm not sure.
I heard that it ended.
Did it end? Okay, day 9.
That's what I've heard. But
so day 8 is over.
I believe.
Yes.
But I could be wrong. Yeah.
Christmas is coming. The holidays are coming. So everyone's busy. And I actually got these fun earrings
Aren't
for you.
those fun?
Except every time I move, that's all I hear.
The jingle bells inside.
That's all I hear. So anyway, I was just curious how you got into this field, and then you've been working. I am curious because many of our patients probably don't know in audiology you have different choices. You can become an industrial audiologist. You can work in the hospital. You can work in the operating room. You can work at the VA in an ENT office, and you really started off as a dispensing audiologist. How did that happen? Was it just a fluke, or?
So I kind of, throughout all of my training, I kind of got my feet wet in every aspect of audiology, and I really was able to connect with patients through hearing aids. It's the one place in our field where you really get to see a big improvement in quality of life, and you get to see how much you can make their lives better. And
so that really kind of stuck with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've done a few things just because I'm a little older, but I've done the hospital and the ENT setting, and for years worked mostly with vestibular patients, and really loved that work.
And that's balance, just in case people don't know word too.
So
that's a really big one.
I worked a lot with dizzy patients because your balance system is in your ear, and so when you have a balance problem, they'll actually send you for a hearing test, and then often further testing, which an audiologist will do. So I handled that for years and loved that work. And so when I kind of crept into dispensing, my gosh, it's been a long time now, at least, maybe 20 years ago, really did fall in love with it. Initially, I was in an ENT environment. Okay. And that's a very different world of dispensing.
It really is.
Yes, you did that too.
I did.
So you can dispense hearing aids when you work with ENTs, but your time for patients is limited. Very limited. Yeah. So when I finally left that and did private practice, it's like, if people did this, I always say, you would never do anything else because it really is.
It's wonderful. It really is.
Yeah, it's incredibly rewarding work.
You're going to become close with your patients. They become like your friends. They really do. Yeah. It's fun.
So that's always a nice feeling. Do you remember the first time you really felt like, oh, I really made a difference for this person?
Yeah, I actually do. So in our field, things are constantly changing. And for the longest time, for this one patient that I had, there was nothing that they could do to improve her hearing. She only had normal hearing in one ear, and the other ear had quite a bit of loss. And so she had been struggling to get localization, being able to figure out where sounds are coming from, be able to talk to people when they're on her poor ear. And it was really neat because she came in and she had almost no hope for that ear, just expecting us to say, okay, it's gotten worse again, but there's nothing we can do. And I was able to tell her that we could fit her with a hearing aid, and we could fit her with one that would give her enough power where she could actually hear out of that ear. And it changed her life drastically.
Yes.
Yeah. She actually was in tears over it. And it was really neat to see how much we can change their life.
Right. Yeah. And often, we call that a unilateral hearing loss, and often those patients, I don't know if you've heard me say this.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know this, most people, for example, as we age, we acquire hearing loss in both ears. But certain diseases, certain environmental things can happen where you lose hearing only in one ear.
Yeah.
And I always say to my patient, you want to wow everybody.
You do.
You want everybody to love you. You want everybody to love your hearing aids because that really is, yes, it pays my bills, but it's really the emotional
The
work.
rewarding part.
Yeah, it's the emotional work that makes us great at what we do because it's so important. And I always say to my one-eared users, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to wow you. I don't think you're going to love me.
Yeah.
I want to wow you and I want you to love me, but there aren't a whole lot of my one-eared users. And sometimes I can still wow them through accessories and other things, but I will set my expectation bar a lot lower because it's usually so hard to work with just one ear. And really, when we can give them that better hearing in the one ear,
it's life-changing.
It is absolutely, it is
Yeah.
life-changing, especially, she had a normal ear, but some people have a dead ear and bad ear. So we can only fit the bad ear and it's all they have. And as you know, even then, one ear doesn't do the work of two. Those are the people who I say, I'm not going to wow you. They have a dead ear and I can only work with one ear.
Yeah.
And I really want to wow them, but it's just so
But there's
hard.
limitations. Yeah.
There are limitations. And again, we still fit them and it is still life-changing, obviously. I mean, that's the goal.
Do you remember a time with yourself and how you impacted somebody's life?
I don't remember the first time, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, probably, this, my passion is really working with seniors. I had a wonderful grandma. I liked hanging out with her. When all my friends were with their friends, I was hanging out with, my grandma and her friends who were all 80 years old. So I just always done well with that population. I don't know why. So I love working with those people. And I think really where I find so much reward, and I've talked about this too when I've lectured, and sometimes I don't like to talk about it because I tear up and it's like, oh. But it's the men, or women, but often the men who are really resistant. They're only coming in because their wife made them or their kids gave them a hard time over Thanksgiving dinner. They are physically closed off. They're sitting like this. We're talking. They're like, I really hear fine, but my wife, they're just, you could tell they don't want to be in that room with me. And I think where I really, I always say I should have the staff come in and participate in this because it is so rewarding. But you can literally put a hearing aid on them and physically, this is where I go, see them relax.
Yeah.
Their arms come down, their eyes light up, quite often they cry, even the tough old men.
Yeah.
And within 45 minutes, truly, it's a different person I'm sitting across from. And if you can't respond to that and love what you do, something's wrong.
You're in the wrong field.
You're in the wrong field because, we get that a lot. And so when you learn to just see that, and of course they come back a week later, and over the next 3 months they really evolve, and they're like, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? But you could see them going through these stages. But just the physical, within that 5 minutes of putting the aid, and truly, I should videotape it, their eyes sparkle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, people have to see
incredible.
this. Yeah, people have to see this.
Mm-hmm.
And these aren't people with profound loss. These are people with a very typical mild to severe high frequency hearing loss, where this has just become really destructive for their family and their quality of life, that they're so resistant and they're angry and they're frustrated that they have to be here, and then you're like, So it's not one patient, it's just a lot of patients. For those of you just joining us, welcome. This is Dr. Kristen Klein. I'm Dr. Tina Jesse, and we are two of the audiologists who are with Good Sound Audiology. Thank you for joining our happy hour. We're just talking today kind of about what we do as audiologists. Dr. Klein is the newest audiologist to our practice, so we're just getting to know you a little bit better. And then also enjoying the holidays together. So however you celebrate, welcome and happy holidays to you and your family. I know you do a lot of counseling with patients when you're doing your fittings. speaking of the holidays, I think it's real important. I always say there's a reason a hearing aid's not called the hearing cure. It's called an aid.
It's an aid for a reason.
It's one piece of the puzzle. It is an aid. It is a piece of assistance.
It's never going to bring us back to completely normal hearing.
Usually not, but hopefully it is a significant improvement.
Of course.
But what I was curious, so during the holidays when things are stressful for some of us because all of our family comes to town, what strategies do you recommend for patients who may have hearing aids? They're at those family get-togethers. What can they do to maybe do more than just wear a hearing aid and be more successful with their communication?
Of course, and that's a really good question too, because oftentimes the hardest part is to get yourself in hearing aids, and then once you have them, you want to hear better everywhere.
Right.
And especially at those family get-togethers where you have many people, you may have the lights dimmed, it's not always ideal conversation settings. You want to be able to be one-on-one with the person that you want to talk to, and you want to be able to be face-to-face. You get some of those speech cues, even if you don't know that you're using them.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do when there's 10 people at the table?
Yeah. So you want to focus and face the person that you're trying to hear. It's important to really turn towards the person who's talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will tell some of my patients, for example, if you're going out with 6 people, you're going to trivia.
Yeah.
You know who you have the hardest time hearing. All right.
Yes.
You also know if it's your husband or your wife, they're going to put up with you for the night, and they know why you didn't respond. That one person, though, put that one person across from you, not next to you.
That's a good point. That's a good
and then like lighting. We want to put the sunlight
area.
It's Arizona. If it warms up, you may sit outside for Christmas dinner. So you've got to put the sun.
That's new to me.
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota originally. We have snow. We don't normally have a whole...
Welcome. Yeah, you can come over. We might sit outside for Christmas dinner. But I'm always saying to my patients, put the lighting, put the sun in your spouse's eyes, not yours. You need those visual cues. And then, I know you wanted to speak to background noise and trying to eliminate some of that.
Oh, yeah. If you know that you're having a really important conversation with somebody and you're all kind of gathered together, because typically we're not all sitting down unless we're having our meal. Go ahead and bring that other person you're talking with or other people that you're talking with into another room where it's quieter, because you will hear much better there than you will with, say, 15 people around you.
Sure. Yeah, so the visual cues, turn off the TV, turn the music down. If you're in the car, you've got to turn the radio off.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, which we would love to talk to more and more of our patients about, are accessories. So when you're in the car, when you're at the table, there are now really, and I don't usually hop on the bandwagon, as you know, of accessories, but we've got 1 or 2 now that have been fabulous.
So good.
So good. I've had people come in, and they're like $350, so I know that's not super cheap, but it's not like a new hearing aid.
If it can make you hear better in those really tough to hear situations like the car, it changes people's lives.
Car, restaurant, really noisy place. We actually do have a question, Jelena.
Oh, we do?
Yes. Jessica wrote in. She wants to know, how do I encourage my dad to get hearing aids? I feel like he's in denial.
That's a really good question.
So the question is, if you have a parent or someone you know and you kind of suspect they have a problem, they might need hearing aids, but that person, in this particular person's case, their father, denies having a problem, and yet you know there's a problem. I think it's easier if you let me or Dr. Klein do that battle for you. All you really have to do is get them to schedule an appointment for a hearing evaluation. We'll do the rest. If you sit and tell your dad over and over, you need hearing aids, it's probably not going to listen to you. But what we can do is kind of start with just some counseling and kind of planting the seed. So really what I ask family members to do, this is a big emotional decision. Hearing loss, it's painful. It's emotional.
It impacts everybody.
It impacts,
not just that person.
Yeah, it impacts everybody, but it's really, really painful. And so you can't really beat someone over the head, but you can't say, you know what? This doesn't cost you any money. Medicare covers it. Insurance pays for it. It takes 20 minutes. Let's just go check your hearing. That's all I'm asking. And then let us do the rest, because we spend a lot of time on counseling, and we'll help get them there. So that's usually what I say is just get the hearing appointment and let us do the rest of the talking. Let us do the counseling for you. You know, I always have a funny story. My dad, I started it sounds like you came into this field pretty early, like when you went to college. Yeah, I did the same thing. Freshman year, I took that class. I went immediately into audiology. Spent the next 4, 6, 8, 9 years of education on that.
Lots of schooling.
Yeah, lots of schooling. And, you know, when you're in school, you check everybody's hearing because you need to practice. So I, of course, checked my dad's hearing, and he had normal hearing. And my dad was like, I don't know why people won't get hearing aids. If you can't see, you get glasses. If you can't hear, you get hearing aids. And I'm like, well, Dad, you know, it's a lot painful. There's emotional work you have to do. If I need them, I would just get it. Well, fast forward 20 years later, I'm in Florida visiting my dad. He can't hear a thing.
Really?
The TV's turned up. He can't hear me. And I mean, Dad, you need hearing aids. This same man says, I don't need hearing aids. It's only you. I hear everybody else but you. So, again, it's different when it's coming from a family member.
It is.
Opposed
they feel
to
attacked almost.
Yeah. Opposed to an outsider. So get the hearing test scheduled. And we can do the rest. We have another question.
What is the average time someone has hearing loss before they seek help?
I feel like that's a trivia question.
Right?
Got it. Ring the buzzer.
Right. Around 7 years. Right?
Around 7 years. And the question for those of you, in case you can hear, is how long do most people wait before they reach out for help? Dr. Klein is correct. I think it's around 7 years. I do think that's going to change now, though, because of the over-the-counter hearing aids. The goal with over-the-counter hearing aids, which I do share this goal. I don't like over-the-counter hearing aids, but I share the goal of people reaching out and getting help sooner. And the goal is, okay, well, if I only have to spend $300 instead of $3,000 per aid, let me just run to Walgreens and get a hearing aid.
Yeah. And most people probably don't know even about over-the-counter hearing aids, especially if they're new to getting into our field, kind of.
Right, but they will become familiar.
Oh, yeah. I just was going to say we may want to let them know what those are a little bit.
So you can, for years, you've been able to go online or run to Sears, and you can get an amplifier. You've seen it in the back of the magazine. Those you can now get,
But essentially, they're just amplifying all the pitches across the board, the low pitches and the high pitches equally.
Right.
And for most people, that's not how their hearing progresses.
Shaped, correct.
It's typically good hearing in the lows, and then it slopes down to the highs. So for those people, an amplifier is going to drive them crazy. They don't need amplification.
But it only costs them $200. So they start there.
They start there.
And now, although there will be some hearing aids, there are devices that we can now call hearing aids. So they're going to see that everywhere. They're like, why would I can get a hearing aid at Walgreens? A hearing aid, not an amplifier, for $300. And the goal was, the reason the laws changed was that people do wait so long. And we now know that untreated hearing loss is associated with dementia and cognition decline. So we want, everybody's in agreement. We want people to treat this sooner. We're just in disagreement on how to make that happen. And I love that, hey, $300. But as you know, as I've said before, I would sell, you would sell way more hearing aids if we could sell them for $300 or even $1,000. My gosh, we would be so busy. If they worked, I would sell them. I would, if I could make those men go from this to this with a $300 hearing aid, we would do it.
We would do it every time.
We would do it every time. It doesn't happen. Good technology, unfortunately, is still very expensive. So most people do wait. I'm hoping family will start to communicate a little sooner over the holidays. We always say this is our busiest time of year. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah. Those family get-togethers generate a lot of discussion. Sometimes it's not happy discussion. And our phone starts ringing because they're like, I couldn't hear my family. I faked it the whole weekend long. Or my kids were on me the whole week long. Can I come in? So between now and February, we're usually very busy. And hopefully, again, just some prodding of making the phone call. That's why I always say to our staff, that phone ringing is a big deal for somebody.
And I think, too, if people knew that hearing loss is linked to all those things that nobody wants to get, cognitive decline, memory loss, that type of thing, that they would be in our door sooner,
Right.
even if it's just for a baseline.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think some of that
Mm-hmm.
is changing. You know, I know our doctors, we have wonderful doctors who, as you know, who
Oh, yeah.
refer to us. And years ago, I know a lot of doctors would say, "Oh, can you hear me?" And if the patient
The
said
whisper
yes,
test, yeah.
they say, "Oh, you're fine, don't worry about it." And
Yeah.
now, you know, physicians are our greatest referral source because
Yeah.
they're like, "No, you've got to get this checked immediately. You do not want to put this off any longer." So they're far more proactive in referring, and I think that's helpful. But I do know the holidays make it hard. Again, we talked a little bit about the impact around the table, and again, why we're so busy this time of year.
I have a question for you really quick, thinking of it, because I get this a lot from patients. So they come in and they know that they want to see an audiologist and have the best hearing aids that they possibly can, but they may have a friend who spent all this money on hearing aids and the hearing aids don't work for them.
Right.
What do we do for that? Or how does that happen?
Yeah, how do you respond to that? I'm hoping that happens less and less, but I know that's a concern. My gosh, my friend spent $7,000 and they still can't hear me. And my response would be, get them in my door.
Yeah.
All right? Let me see them, because I'm not saying I can take someone with severe hearing loss and give them normal hearing. I can't.
No. Yeah.
But again, I think realistically for most people, and same for you, when you fit good technology, and that's all we fit in this practice. That's why I don't have $300 hearing aids. You should be able to affect great change.
Yeah.
Period. If someone is not doing well, if that hearing aid is sitting in a drawer, it's because I did not take care of them. It's my fault. It's not the patient's fault. I either did not counsel appropriately, program appropriately, or I chose the wrong technology for that person's lifestyle.
The other thing that can play a role too, sometimes it's not always the hearing aids. Sometimes it is our ears, and we are limited to our brain and our hearings. When we wait too long to get into hearing aids, our ability to differentiate between similar speech sounds worsens. And once that drops, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do right now to bring that back up.
Well, you can't bring up the clarity, but you can still bring back awareness to sound.
Oh, of course.
You
the
can
awareness,
bring,
yeah.
So again, if it's sitting in the drawer, and that's information, that's a very good point. That's information you should have before you spend any money. It's like, if I spend all this money, is it just going to be awareness to sound, or will I actually understand better? And again, if I counsel correctly, we're all on the same page regarding expectations, right?
Yeah.
And then it should not end up in the drawer. So if someone has spent thousands of dollars, someone did not take care of that person. If they're sitting in the drawer, that should no longer, without exception, that should no longer be happening.
Agreed.
So sadly, that just means somebody didn't take care of them. And if they're in Arizona, let myself or Dr. Klein or Dr. Strike help them. If they're out of state, call us. I will find a referral for you.
Yeah.
Because if you have someone who's wearing hearing aids, especially if they spent $5,000 to $7,000, they were not taken care of, and we can do better. So, and that's really what I think most audiologists want. I mean, we really do want to make
people to hear
we,
better.
we really do want to make a difference for you. Like I said, if I just wanted to take your money, I would sell a $1,000 hearing aid and sell a lot more hearing aids. We are actually running out of time.
Are we really?
I told you.
That goes so quick.
I told you it would go super fast.
It really does.
We are very appreciative that we have Dr. Klein here. You spend most of your time in the Mesa and the Gilbert office. She's definitely accepting new patients, and as you can see, she's lovely. We really strive to really be far above average, not only at the technology we dispense, but really our expectations we set for ourselves are very high in this practice. So, and we try to communicate that from every interaction, from the front office to the phone to the time you spend with your doctor. So, Merry Christmas, you guys. Happy holidays. Cheers, Dr. Klein again. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the third Wednesday. Actually, we'll see you in 2018. So, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.